you, Tahira. Arise, shine, our light has come, and the glory of God is upon us. With these powerful words from the prophet Isaiah, I welcome you to the Arise Chicago 2021 Faith, Labor, Action Breakfast. We're glad that you are here. It's our 30th anniversary this year, and Arise Chicago continues to bring a fuller measure of God's justice to workers. Well, folks, we moved to a new office in September, and we want you to see it. To open our breakfast, we've asked Cantor Shira Ben David to bless our new space. Come on in.
Whenever we celebrate or sanctify a special moment in time, especially when we found a new home, we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, creator of the universe, shehachianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and helping us to reach this time in our new home. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Thank you, Cantor Shira. What a joy to have you bless our space. Friends, thank you for joining us as we celebrate 30 years of Arise work. Since we are in such unique times, the breakfast this year is going to be unique. This year, we're going to feature Arise worker members and staff to tell you about the work of Arise in 2021, the second year of this tragic pandemic. We hope you will be inspired by courageous workers who are stepping up to make changes in their workplace and in society. At Arise, we educate, advocate for public policy changes, and organize. And we do so with great passion and long-lasting impact. Dozens of exploited workers come to Arise each week. Some come hoping we will fix their problems. But instead, we teach and partner with workers so they can develop their innate leadership skills. Each week, we see workers transformed, from living with exploitation to now changing their workplace and creating change in society. You and I know we are all connected by one giant fabric of humanity. So it is a natural fit for us to engage the faith community in this work. Indeed, our founders 30 years ago were faith leaders. In 2021, through workshops, videos, and live Facebook events, Arise educated low-wage workers about staying safe on the job. We also leveraged our trusted position in the immigrant communities to encourage workers and their families to get vaccinated. In collaboration with the Oak Park Department of Public Health, in April and in May, we held vaccine days at Euclid Avenue United Methodist Church, my church. Nearly 200 members got vaccinated. Then we posted worker photos far and wide to encourage others to get vaccinated. Thank you, Oak Park Village and Euclid. Folks, throughout the year, we have educated workers about their rights on the job, including how to make sure they are getting paid their proper wage. Here's Jorge to tell you about 3 workers whose wages were stolen, but whose persistence paid off. Jorge.
Thank you, CJ. Arise opened our Worker Center in 2002. In the last 20 of our 30 years, we have supported workers to recover over $9 million in stolen wages and compensation. Our biggest settlement came after a 9-year-long fight. 3 car wash workers at Little Village Car Wash were passed to 5 different government offices trying to recover their stolen wages. So that you can hear directly from the workers, here's a clip from our June press conference announcing their victory.
Pues nos hacían trabajar de 7 a 7 y nos pagaban menos de 8 horas. Menos de 8 horas nos hacía pagar y para acabar el día de 7 a 7 nos hacía hacer labores en sus casas, en sus propiedades, en sus negocios, para que acabáramos las 12 horas. Y él nos pagaba menos de 8 horas y menos del mínimo.
El haber ganado esto es un logro más, tanto de uno por la paciencia, otro por la perseverancia y la audacia de los compañeros de ICE. Y pues uno, ¿qué puede hacer uno solo? Nada. Pero como dice la palabra, el que a buen árbol se arrima, buena sombra lo cobija. Muchas gracias.
¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
9 years, or 9 months, or 9 weeks is way too long. Workers should be paid promptly and legally and on time. Arise keeps working to see to that.
This year, people of faith marched, prayed, and sang to support teachers, nurses, hotel workers, food processing workers, and more, demonstrating the deep and abiding human connection we have with each other, which is the core of all our faith traditions. In June, Reverend C.J. Hawking, our executive director, led a national interfaith press conference to announce that over 400 faith leaders from across the country were supporting the PRO Act, the Protect the Right to Organize Act, the greatest pro-worker legislation since the New Deal. And as we do every year, over Labor Day weekend, Arise Chicago educated faith communities on the sacred link between faith and work through our annual Labor on the Pulpit, on the Bima, in the Minbar program. This year, our speakers included Tafari Gabre, Executive Vice President of the AFL-CIO, and Arise Chicago board and staff. Now, here's Axel to tell you more about how Arise honored workers who have died during this pandemic. Axel.
Thanks, Luke. On Workers' Memorial Day this past April, our board led a memorial service with Jewish, Muslim, and Christian faith leaders to honor workers around the world who have died during this pandemic. It was a beautiful, deeply moving service that included participants submitting names of coworkers, friends, and family lost to the pandemic. Arise also held a Dia de los Muertos, a Day of the Dead memorial and celebration outside of the El Milagro headquarters. During the pandemic, 85 workers at the El Milagro tortilla plants contracted COVID, and tragically 5 died. Here you see workers and community supporters honoring those who died with flowers, candles, calaveras, catrinas, and a beautiful ofrenda. You will be hearing more about the El Milagro workers a little later.
Thanks, Axel. Both of those events were very powerful. And now we move from educating to advocating. Arise Chicago believes and practices that those most impacted by public policy changes should be the ones to shape public policy. To share the first big national victory, here's Adam, who is in a newly created public policy director position at Arise. Adam.
Thanks, CJ. We celebrated an important federal public policy victory this year, an insidious anti-immigrant policy left over from the previous federal administration created the so-called no-match crisis. The Social Security Administration sent letters to employers listing workers whose Social Security numbers did not match the SSA numbers. Most of these mismatches are due to clerical errors and spelling mistakes, which can easily happen to immigrants with non-English names. But employers often incorrectly fired workers. Other times, unscrupulous employers use these no-match letters as a pretext for intimidating or firing workers. Some of our worker members told us they felt terrorized as immigrants. We heard from workers whose employers received no-match letters who had either been fired or were scared and felt they had to quit their jobs.
Mi número está bien, le digo, no tiene ningún problema, no sé por qué me dice, pues a mí me está mandando esta carta, dice, y obviamente dice, no, ya no te puedo dar más trabajo, entonces te necesito que te vayas.
Al principio de este año vimos un resurgimiento del envío de estas cartas, consecuentemente mucha persona perdió su empleo durante la pandemia, complicando la situación de su familia.
With Congressman Chuy Garcia and the National Immigrant Law Center, Arise Chicago advocated to end the use of no-match as a federal practice. In April of this year, SSA announced it would stop sending no-match letters. This was a momentous victory for immigrant workers here in Chicagoland and across the country. But we didn't stop there. Next, here's Anya to share a local policy victory from this year.
That was indeed an exciting victory, Adam. I'm thrilled to now share two local changes via Arise Chicago and Illinois Domestic Worker Coalition. First, effective August of 2021, the City of Chicago eliminated the sub-minimum wage for nannies, caregivers, and home cleaners, so domestic workers are now included in full Chicago minimum wage, which is currently $15 an hour. Second, in January 2022, all employers will be required to provide written contract to domestic workers they hire. This new protection is historic and makes Chicago only the third and largest city in the U.S. to provide contract requirements. To learn more about what this means for domestic workers, let's hear from our two leaders, Beatriz and Isabel.
Y ahora todos los pagos van a estar por escrito en el contrato, por eso es muy importante, ya que en el pasado, como no había nada formal, el pago a las trabajadoras domésticas realmente no, en muchas ocasiones ni siquiera era el salario mínimo.
Tengo más de 18 años, la importancia de tener un contrato es tener seguridad, es dejar de ser vulnerables ante diferentes casos de abuso.
Beatriz and Isabel are two of 11 Latina and Polish domestic worker leaders trained as contract specialists to provide one-on-one guidance to domestic workers creating their first written contract. This groundbreaking law happened because Arise domestic worker members demanded and wanted. Congratulations to domestic workers in Chicago. You did it!
In our 30-year history, Arise has partnered with and supported the most exploited, most vulnerable workers to improve wages and working conditions. During the pandemic, workers' lives were at enormous risk. Heroically, some workers fought back against their employers' negligence and greed by organizing with their coworkers for safer conditions. Here to tell you about one such campaign is our Director of Member Organizing, Margarita Klein. Margarita.
Thank you, CJ. We hear from a lot of manufacturing and food production workers during the pandemic, including from some very well-known brands. Workers at the Portillo's food production plant in Addison make food for the 47 Portillo's restaurants in Chicagoland. During the pandemic, some of the Addison workers left, but weren't replaced, so the remaining workers were forced to do double the work. 16 years Portillo's workers Patty Cordova shared more about the issue workers faced in an interview with Univision.
Motivo de que es pesado el trabajo. Aparte de que es pesado, estamos ahorita trabajando como lo de 2, 3 personas. Cada uno de mis colegas de acá atrás se hace el trabajo. unos departamentos es demasiado caliente, otros departamentos demasiado frío, y así andamos nosotros trabajando. Tiempo en muy caliente y tiempo en muy frío. Para dar 25 centavos de aumento, esa es una burla. Esa es una burla para tanto dinero que se está ganando. Muchas ganancias que tienen los dueños y poco dinero para nosotros los empleados. Y ya basta.
Because they did not feel safe and management ignored their demands, the Portillo's production workers walked off the job in July. In spite of their employers' demand to return to work, the workers stay united and stay out.
Pues ya tenemos 5 días y seguimos en la lucha por los mejores tratos en el trabajo. Muchas gracias.
Estamos dispuestos a negociar, solamente es cuestión de que ellos se abran y estén decididos a hablar con nosotros.
Queremos que nos escuchen como equipo y queremos seguir trabajando fuerte.
After a week-long strike, Arise and clergy accompanied the workers to the plant door in their first day back. The workers received up to $2 an hour wage increase, and the company agreed to hire more workers. Workers know their collective actions made a difference, and by speaking up, they also inspire other workers to take action. Sí se puede. Through organizing and making demands, the Portillo workers won unprecedented gains this year. Next, Laura will share about another group of workers who were bold in making demands on management. Laura?
Gracias, Margarita. Portillo's wasn't the only well-known Chicagoland food brand whose workers contacted us this year. Like many essential workers and Milagro workers during the pandemic, risked their lives to feed our families. Not only did 85 workers get sick, but 5 of them died so that you and I could eat comfortably at home. Workers finally had enough. They forced the company to close in 2020 and organized in 2021, saying no more, no más, to low wages, dangerous working conditions, and overload. They said you could increase the speed of the machines, but not of human beings. No somos máquinas. El milagro translates to the miracle. But as workers say, the only miracle is that we are still alive. Let's hear directly from El Milagro workers about some of the many issues they face.
Nuestra área de trabajo es muy caliente. En este verano yo lo sentí más caliente que nunca.
Nos están haciendo trabajar a un nivel bastante pesado, ya que a hacer falta de personal, las máquinas les tienen que subir para que salga más rápido la tortilla.
Compañero nuevo que viene, le dedicamos nuestro tiempo para explicarle todo, para que agarre práctica y gana mejor que nosotros.
In addition to the heat, machines at unsafe speeds, and sexual harassment, as Luis mentioned, El Milagro workers were also outraged that new hires were making up to $2 or $3 more per hour than them, especially for long-time workers with 10, 20, or even 30 years at the company. So Arise asked the workers at one of the plants what they wanted to do, and together they wrote a demand letter. They gave it to management, with 2/3 of the workers signing. And a few weeks later, management met most of their demands, including pay raises between 80 cents and $3.20 an hour. Then workers at other locations started contacting Arise and were ready to take bold actions. When the company did not reply to their demands around safety and wages, they walked off the job for a short-term work stoppage. Workers also filed several complaints against the company, including unlawful requirements in order to be paid for sick time, even during COVID, and being forced to work 7 days a week. Thanks to their organizing and public pressure from mass media coverage, the El Milagro workers won ends to both of these unlawful practices.
Nos reunió a todos en el comedor y nos dijo que sí, que efectivamente íbamos a descansar los domingos, que a partir del día de hoy, en 10 días en adelante, nos iban a dar los domingos y un día adicional extra de descanso también durante la semana.
While El Milagro workers continued organizing, mixed in with their wins, the company started retaliating and intimidating the workers, including hiring an armed guard at one location and using immigration threats. Let's hear from Martin, El Milagro worker.
Y con lo que me encontré hoy en la mañana fue una policía, no sé de qué clase de policía, estaba con su chaleco antibalas, con una pistola o una macana, y eso se llama intimidación hacia el empleado. Y yo les digo, bájenle a la velocidad, pero ellos no quieren, ellos lo que les importa es su ganancia. Y a nosotros como empleados, como mis compañeros están aquí presentes allá atrás, yo estoy hablando por ellos. ¿Por qué? Porque queremos algo que nos beneficie a todos, ¿sí me entiende? Es lo que queremos y ellos toman represalias de ese tipo y no se vale.
En estos momentos solamente estamos temiendo represalias contra nosotros. No es justo que tomen represalias contra nosotros, que solamente estamos peleando por el derecho de todos los compañeros.
Alma also came forward about the sexual harassment that went on for years. She and others complained to the company, but the company did nothing.
Y ellos saben que no, el acoso sexual existe de muchos años, de años atrás, no es de ahorita. A lo mejor a mí fue ahorita, pero hay compañeras que han renunciado al trabajo porque no han podido con el acoso. Y el problema más grande, que no nos escuchan, no negocian con nosotros.
While they face a lot of challenges, El Milagro workers have continued organizing. They are proud that they make the best tortillas in Chicago, but they want to be known for more than that. El Milagro worker Guillermo said it best.
Queremos que en un futuro se diga del Milagro que no nada más hacen los mejores productos, los mejores totopos, las mejores tortillas. Queremos que se diga que el Milagro cumple con las mejores condiciones laborales para nosotros como trabajadores. Muchas gracias a todos por venir. Gracias.
We're fighting alongside all the workers at El Milagro. Workers are happy they made the gains, including an end to the 7 days per week of working and unlawful requirements to be paid sick time, and their raises. Arise Chicago's communications work on El Milagro and other worker and policy campaigns has led to unprecedented community support and media coverage, thanks to the courage of workers and the hard work of Arise staff, including the excellent work of Shelley, our communications director. Shelley.
Thanks, CJ. Indeed, the El Milagro campaign and all the work Arise did in 2021 has had a big impact on workers and their families. One of the ways we expand that impact is through our communications and media work. When workers share their campaigns and workplace struggles with the press, it brings about several levels of change, from personal to public policy. Workers develop their own storytelling skills, publicize their personal struggles to win workplace campaigns, move the public narrative to work towards policy improvements, and inspire other workers to take action. In 2021, Arise Chicago secured over 200 media pieces, including local and national print articles, radio, and TV coverage, reaching millions of people with our members' stories. Our live-streamed press conferences, actions, educational videos, and digital handouts reached over 693,000 people via social media. We reach millions of readers and viewers because of workers who are courageous enough to speak out for safe conditions, living wages, and respect on the job. Their stories show that while they are victimized by abusive employers, they are not victims. They are powerful agents of change. Their voices not only improve their own working conditions and lives, but inspire other workers to take action, increasing Arise Chicago's reach and growing the local, national, and international labor movement.
Yo tengo miedo, pero hoy estoy aquí. Estoy dispuesta a enfrentar lo que tenga que enfrentar, las consecuencias que tenga que enfrentar. No me siento sola, a pesar de que al principio yo no tenía nada que ver con esto. Ahora me siento apoyada, pude sacar el miedo, pude sacar la rabia, pude sacar el dolor que yo traía adentro, que yo quería gritar lo que me había pasado y no podía, no sabía dónde. Hoy me siento apoyada. Gracias a todas las personas que están aquí para que nuestra voz sea escuchada.
As you can see, Arise Chicago has... Excuse me? Can you say that again? Folks, I'm being told we have to go to the studio.
Yes. Hello from that studio. Lisa Parker from NBC5, live, ready to cover some of the breaking news we have all covered together for umpteen years at this Arise breakfast. You didn't think we were going to break the streak, did you? I am such a fan of Arise Chicago. I'm also a proud card-carrying member of SAG-AFTRA. One of the things that has gotten me through this pandemic is just knowing that Arise is there and on speed dial for us. Whenever we hear from a viewer who has allegations that they have been unfairly treated in their life as a worker, we know exactly where they can go to get information and somebody to stand next to them as they potentially wage their battle. So I'm here to say thank you, Arise, for your grit and your commitment to Chicago. Happy 30th. Not a single one of you looks a day over 28 and a half.
Thanks, Lisa. We are inspired by our workers and our supporters like you. And we will not stop until all workplace exploitation is eradicated and all workers are treated as if they were created in the image of God, which they are. We'd like to call upon our board member, Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson, to celebrate our 30 years and to let you know how you can help keep Arise arising. Brandon.
Thanks, CJ, and thanks to you and all of the Arise staff for your amazing work. Folks, workers need Arise Chicago. Think of what you've heard this morning. This wasn't the past decade or the past 5 years of work. All of that was just this past year and during a pandemic. Ending SSA, no-match letters that disproportionately hurt immigrant workers, organizing workers at two beloved Chicago food companies, Portillo's and El Milagro. Arise is creating a better, safer workplaces with workers demanding their rightful seat at the table. So, will you support Arise with a gift of $1,000? I am in awe of all that Arise can accomplish with a staff of just 10 people. If I had just 2 words to describe Arise, it would be strategic and effective, and dedicated, and smart, and collaborative, and groundbreaking. Okay, I get it, I know, that's more than 2 words. I'm sure you all have other words to describe Arise, the staff, and the workers you've heard from too. Amazing, inspiring, I could go on and on. Would you consider donating $500 to this strategic and effective group? You can donate using the link on your screen. You saw these amazing organizers on the screen today. Did you know that 2/3 of the staff have been with Arise for 9 years or more? This is unheard of in the nonprofit world. Because of the longevity, Arise staff have each built out a substantial network of collaborators and supporters. Think about it. How many Arise staff members did you know on the screen? See, we know and trust and admire these folks. And maybe you recognize some of the workers, especially the El Milagro workers who have been on about 100 different media pieces just this year alone. So would it be possible for you to donate $250 to support the work of Arise? Arise is doing groundbreaking work with El Milagro and Portillo's, the car wash workers, ending no-match letters. The list goes on and on. Can you consider donating $100 to Arise to support the organizing and union incubating they are doing? See, as far as I know, no other group in the country has incubated 7 work sites into unionizing. So let's help make it 8 by supporting right now. Any gift you can give, from $500 to $50 to $5 is greatly appreciated to keep this amazing work going. The link is on your screen. As CJ always says, we are all arising. Chicago is arising. Cook County is arising. So let's arise together. Thank you for your gift today.
Thanks, Brandon. And thanks to you, all of our supporters who joined us for the 2021 Faith Labor Action Breakfast at Arise Chicago. It was great to celebrate our 30th anniversary with you, and we appreciate your support today and throughout the year. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Abre la muralla.